Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tausif, and here I am back with a new live stream. This is Sunday night. The time right now is 10 p.m. Central Time. I'm in Wisconsin. And I thank you all for tuning in. The topic tonight is an extremely important one, and it pertains to Texas. I know that there are many friends, many subscribers on this channel who live in Texas. Maybe you live in Texas now after moving to Texas, or maybe you were born and raised in Texas, or maybe you live somewhere else, but you love Texas. Whatever the case may be, my friends, please pay attention to the discussion that we are going to be having tonight. And if you are tuning in, I would kindly request you to like this video so that the video can reach more people. So like this video, support this channel, and if you are here for the first time, please make sure that you are subscribing. Subscribe to stay connected. My friends, the Republicans cannot afford to lose a statewide race in Texas. And I'm going to repeat that. The Republicans cannot afford to lose a statewide race in Texas. So a gubernatorial race or a U.S. Senate race or an attorney general's race, the Republicans cannot afford to lose a statewide race in Texas. Right now, my friends, you may know this already, and if you do, I want you to share your thoughts with me, okay? Right now, there's a really intense Senate primary race going on in Texas. U.S. Senate, a statewide race. The incumbent U.S. Senator from Texas is John Cornyn. And he's one of two, of course. There are two U.S. senators in every state. And John Cornyn is the incumbent, of the two incumbent senators, U.S. senators from Texas. He's one, John Cornyn. The other senator is Ted Cruz. Senator Cornyn is up for re-election next year in 2026. And he's got a primary challenger, Ken Paxton. Now, how many of you have heard about Ken Paxton? If you have, please let me know in the live chat. Ken Paxton, very widely known political figure. He's the Texas Attorney General. So Ken Paxton is a statewide office holder in Texas. So is John Cornyn. The difference is Ken Paxton is the Attorney General, the state's Attorney General, and John Cornyn is the U.S. Senator. And Ken Paxton is running against John Cornyn. And both are Republicans. So there's conflict among the Republicans in Texas. Of course, many will support John Cornyn and many will support Ken Paxton. The votes are going to be divided. And the greatest concern is that it might be difficult for the Republicans to unite to support the eventual nominee after the primary. That's a real problem that the Texas Republicans might have to deal with. So if John Cornyn, the incumbent U.S. Senator running for re-election, if he wins the primary, then the Ken Paxton voters might be reluctant to support Senator Cornyn in the midterm election in 2026. And if Ken Paxton wins the primary, then the John Cornyn voters might not want to support Ken Paxton, especially after a heated primary. Now, ideally, all Republicans should support the GOP primary winner. There's a primary race. One candidate is going to win. Whoever wins, ideally, should be supported by all Republicans. But in reality, in the case of a heated primary, some voters may experience a sense of disappointment if their preferred candidate doesn't win. And then some of them may end up choosing to not support the primary race winner. So it doesn't mean that the disappointed Republicans whose preferred candidate did not win, it doesn't mean that the disappointed Republicans will vote for the Democrat candidate. That's not going to happen. But what may happen is that some of the Republican voters may just sit at home and not vote at all. So, my friends, give me 1 second. I'm going to check something here. Okay. I do have a poll that I'm conducting. You can see it. It says, which Republican candidate do you support in the U.S. Senate primary race in Texas? So please make sure that you're voting in the poll. And I'm going to check one thing real quick here on my end. By the way, if you're tuning in, please say hello in the live chat and participate in the discussion. Give me 1 second, my friends. Okay. Okay. So, as I was saying, what might happen in the case of a heated primary is that some of the Republican voters may just sit at home and not vote in the general election if they feel that if they see that their preferred candidate did not win the primary race. And if they feel that, oh, they're not going to vote for anyone other than their most preferred GOP primary candidate, and if that candidate doesn't win, then there is a risk of some voters losing interest in the general election. And I'm afraid that something like that may happen in Texas because of the heated U.S. Senate primary. And this is happening in Texas, my friend. So that's why, I chose the title for this live stream, Tension in Texas. Will the GOP be able to hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in the Lone Star State? Texas is the Lone Star State. My friends, I am not going to judge who the better candidate is, okay? That's not the purpose of this live stream, okay? I'm not here to tell you who's a better candidate. I'm not here to tell you if it's John Cornyn or Ken Paxton. I'm not here to tell you who you should vote for. I'm not here to tell you who I think has a higher chance of success. I'm not telling you who the winner is going to be. I'm not here to make any prediction. That's for the Texas voters to decide who they are going to vote for. The people of Texas, they should find out more about both the candidates, look at their past, look at their records, look at their history, read their bio. If you are able to attend campaign events, go attend campaign events. If you have an opportunity to listen to the candidates speak in person, do that. And then you decide. If you have the opportunity to attend an event and to ask questions to the two candidates, do that. And then decide who you're going to vote for, John Cornyn or Ken Paxton. That's for the voters to decide. I'm not here to say who's a better candidate. I'm not here to be a judge. I just want to see. Here's why I am doing this live stream. I just want to see the Senate seat stay in Republican control. That is correct. I'm going to repeat that. I want to see the U.S. Senate seat in Texas stay in Republican control. As a nation, as a country, I must tell you that we cannot afford to lose a single Republican Senate seat in 2026. We must try to gain some seats, but we cannot lose any seat. In 2026, we are hoping and praying that all of the Republican incumbent senators, if they are running for re-election, we are hoping that they all will win. And if there's someone who's not running for re-election, if somebody decides to retire and not run for re-election, then we got to make sure that the seat stays in Republican control, that we have another awesome candidate, Republican candidate, run for that seat and keep that seat in Republican hands. Evelyn is here from Las Vegas. Evelyn, so good to see you. My friends, please do what Evelyn did. Write something in the live chat window. Participate in the discussion. Hold on one second, my friends. Hold on. Please participate in the live chat if you are tuning in. If you're here for the first time, introduce yourself. Tell me what place you are from, what city, what state. Tell me what your political affiliation is, if there's one. Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you an independent? You can let me know that, all right? Only if you wish to. Everyone's welcome. Republicans, Democrats, independents, all are welcome to participate in the live chat. But we must make sure that whatever you're saying, whatever views you're expressing, you're doing so in a very respectful manner, okay? So there's room for disagreement. There's room for building stronger friendship. Participate in the live chat. I highly encourage that. Selena is here. Hi, Selena. Good to see you. So, my friends, 2026, the midterm election, it's going to be extremely important. The Republicans cannot afford to lose a single Senate seat. We must hold on to all the seats that are up for re-election, and we must try to win some more seats, okay? For example, the Republicans must defeat Jon Ossoff in Georgia and win that seat back. Remember, not too long ago, well, it's been a few years, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler used to be the U.S. senators in Georgia. And then, very, very unfortunately, we ended up losing those two seats, and Raphael Warnock came in, and Jon Ossoff came in, both Democrats. They became the U.S. senators. And then, very, very sadly, very unfortunately, I mean, it was so unfortunate that we were not able to defeat Raphael Warnock when he was up. That was when was that? Back in 2022, I guess, right? Let me check. Hold on. Raphael Warnock. Yeah, Raphael Warnock. When was he up? When was he up? What year was it? Yeah, 2022. All right. So Raphael Warnock won Senate re-election in 2022, and that was just so sad. First, we lost those two seats in 2021. Then Raphael Warnock won re-election in 2022. And then he's got 6 more years from 2023. Because, if you win election in 2022 November, the term starts in 2023. So from 2023 January, you count 6 years. That's a lot of years. So now there's hope that the Republicans might be able to defeat Jon Ossoff and at least reclaim one seat in Georgia, one Senate seat in Georgia. So hopefully we win that seat in Georgia, okay, by defeating Jon Ossoff. Now that's a Senate race that I'm going to be talking about more in the future. That's not the topic of discussion tonight, but it's something to keep in mind. So anyway, we cannot lose any seat that's currently in Republican control. And in Texas, we must absolutely win. We cannot lose an election in Texas. All right, give me 1 second. Victoria is here. Hello, Victoria. Thank you for being here. All right, my friends, if you are tuning in, please say hello and make sure that you're liking the video. It is important that you like the video, because once you like the video, then we're able to reach more people. The video then appears in front of a higher number of people out there. So please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and stay connected. And please participate in the live chat. So my friends, in Texas, we must absolutely win. Texas is special. Anyone from Texas watching this? Brad is here. Hi, Brad. Good to see you. Anyone from Texas who's watching this live stream right now? Texas is special. It will always be special. Now, Texas is a state, the Lone Star State. It's a giant state, a beautiful state, but it's not just a state. It's more than a state. Texas is a symbol. Texas is a symbol of freedom. Texas is the Republican stronghold. We cannot lose Texas. My friends, Texas has a Republican governor. Texas has a Republican lieutenant governor. Texas has a Republican attorney general. Texas has 2 Republican U.S. senators. So Texas must be defended, and Texas must remain strong so that Texas can continue to be a symbol of freedom. Evelyn is saying, I was born and raised in Texas. Evelyn, thank you for sharing that. That is so wonderful. And I know we have other friends who are from Texas. I don't know if our friend Kay Cooper is here. Kay Cooper, are you watching, Kay? I don't know if Kay Cooper is watching live. If she's not watching live, hopefully she'll be able to listen to the replay, watch the replay of this live stream. But Kay Cooper is a friend of ours on this channel, supporter, who is from Texas. And I know there are others. There are others from Texas. Our friend Laura Floyd. Once again, I don't know if Laura is watching this. Laura, if you are, please say hello. Laura Floyd is from Texas. And we have lots and lots of other friends who are from Texas. So I hope they are watching. If not the live stream, then definitely the replay afterwards. And the message must be loud and clear. Texas cannot be lost. We cannot lose Texas. So we need to hold on to the U.S. Senate seat in Texas, and we cannot let the Democrats win in Texas. Now, there's a fierce battle going on between Ken Paxton, who is the Texas Attorney General, and John Cornyn, the incumbent Texas senator, for the Senate seat. So one would think that the incumbent would have an advantage, especially when it's a primary. But here's something that's a little different, okay? Reportedly, a new poll by a super PAC called the Senate Leadership Fund shows that John Cornyn, the incumbent, is at 40%, and Ken Paxton is at 56%. Yeah, I mean, do you want the numbers again? Do you want me to repeat the numbers? It's give me 1 second. So yeah, as I was saying, this recent poll that was conducted, it shows that Ken Paxton, AC Cruz is here from Arizona. AC, so good to see you. So AC Cruz is in Arizona, neighboring state. We're talking about Texas. So AC, we're talking about your neighbors in Texas. And according to this recent poll, Ken Paxton, the primary challenger, is at 56%, and John Cornyn, the incumbent, is at 40%. So Ken Paxton is leading by 16 percentage points. That's a huge lead. That's a massive lead. There's still a lot of time left, so this is not the final result. And poll numbers may change. The lead may shift. Or the lead may grow. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. This is just 2025. Election is next year. But the race is on and the temperature is rising. So let's talk about the candidates. John Cornyn is the incumbent senator who has been in office for a very long time. Who can tell me when John Cornyn was first elected? What year was that? When John Cornyn was first elected? Can anyone tell me? I'm going to give you maybe 20 seconds while I pause, if anyone wants to make a guess. When was John Cornyn first elected to Senate? Anyone wants to make a guess? Evelyn is saying 30 years ago. All right. So that's Evelyn's guess, 30 years ago. Anyone else? All right. Let me give you the answer. John Cornyn was first elected to US Senate in the year 2002. That was a long time ago. 2002. And he is now serving in his fourth Senate term. Fourth term. Each Senate term is 6 years, so fourth term. And John Cornyn in the Senate, he sits on some very important committees, and I'm going to share with you the committee names. So the Finance Committee, Judiciary Committee, Intelligence Committee, Foreign Relations Committee, and Budget Committee. So important committees that he's part of. Previously, John Cornyn served um, in the second highest ranking position in the Senate Republican Conference. That's the position of the Republican whip. He's from San Antonio. And before becoming a U.S. Senator, John Cornyn served as a district judge, and he was also a member of the Texas Supreme Court, and he was also the Texas Attorney General. And Ken Paxton, he's the current Attorney General. And Ken Paxton was first elected to the office of the Attorney General in 2014, and then he was reelected in 2018 and then reelected in 2022. Now, prior to becoming the Attorney General, Ken Paxton served in the Texas House of Representatives, and he also served in the Texas State Senate. Give me 1 second here. All right. Well, I see some conversations taking place in the live chat window. Yes, I am an American citizen. If anyone wants to know, if anyone has any question, if anyone has any confusion, you can ask me. Okay. I am an American citizen. All right. I said that loud and clear, and I hope you all heard me. Thank you, my friends. My friends who are always so kind to me, Evelyn, AC Cruz, and so many others who are always so kind to me, always expressing your support for this channel and for this community. Thank you so very much. All right. There are some folks who come here to ask genuine questions. That's always great. And then there are some people who are just here to cause trouble. Uh, what can I say? What can I say? All right, not mentioning any names, but some folks come here and they have genuine questions, which you can ask me. But then some are here just to disrupt, right? Just to disrupt. They like to disrupt the flow of this conversation. But that's not going to happen. All right, we're gonna focus on the issues. We are going to focus on the issues. The issues are important. All right. All right. Okay. So, my friends, John Cornyn is a very experienced political figure, and so is Ken Paxton. They both have tremendous experience in the political world. They are both very, very experienced. And given the fact that Ken Paxton is leading in a recent poll, that shows that Ken Paxton is a tough challenger. As I said, the incumbents usually have an advantage, especially in a primary. But in this case, it seems that John Cornyn doesn't have that advantage, or maybe he's just falling behind. Maybe his momentum is not that strong. I don't know what is going on, but Ken Paxton is leading according to this recent poll. So he's a tough challenger. And of course, the Senate primary is just the first step. The most important thing is to have a candidate who can win in the general election. Both Ken Paxton and John Cornyn have won statewide races. So each candidate can claim that he is in the best position to win and has done so in the past. John Cornyn can say that he has won statewide elections Okay? Ken Paxton can say that he has won statewide elections. Both are very strong. Both are very, very strong. And the electorate is the same. The people of Texas, the same Texans who put Ken Paxton in the Attorney General's office are the same Texans who voted for John Cornyn and put him in the U.S. Senate. So let's look at some past results because I want you to have some understanding of what the past election results were. And you'll know what I'm talking about. Let me just share with you the data. It'll be very clear then. In 2022, which was the most recent election that Ken Paxton won, he got 53.4% of the votes. Gianna is here. Hi, Gianna. Good to see Gianna here. Gianna is from, let me remember, Far Rockaway, New York. Am I correct, Gianna? Tell me. Gianna is here. Good to see Gianna. Please, my friends, like this video. If you have not done so already, hit the like button. Support this channel. Gianna is tuning in from New York. We got Evelyn from Nevada. We got AC Cruz from Arizona. And we have other friends here. Who else is here? I don't see Frank today. Frank, where are you? Frank from Florida. Selena is here. Hi, Selena. So I said hello to Selena already. And Selena is from Kansas, if I am not mistaken. Selena, correct me if I'm wrong. You are from Kansas. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Bill, where's Bill? Where's Bill from Nevada? Bill from Las Vegas. Where's our friend Bill? Now, I have missed doing live streams the last few days, and I'll tell you why. I was in Rothschild, Wisconsin. All right, for an event. Crockett, yeah, where's Crockett? I haven't seen Crockett. Crockett, are you here? Are you listening, Crockett? All right. Lola is saying, I'm watching from Canada. All right, Lola, welcome. Lola from Canada, welcome. All right, okay, let's continue. In 2022, which was the most recent election that Ken Paxton won, he got 53.4% of the votes. And if you are winning an election in a massive state like Texas by getting 53.4% of the votes, statewide race, that is awesome. Ken Paxton, 53.4% of the votes. That's what he got in 2022 in Texas to be re-elected as the Attorney General. Now, some of you may be asking, like, all right, you're just telling us 53.4% of the votes. What is the number? What is the actual number? Simply saying 53.4% of the votes, that doesn't give us a picture of the actual number. How many millions of votes would that be? All right, let me give you the total number of votes that Ken Paxton received in 2022 when he was reelected as the Attorney General. He got a total of 4.27 million votes. 4.27 million votes. Massive number. Massive number. Ken is here. Ken, good to see you. That's our friend Ken from Appleton, right? Ken, am I correct? Ken from Appleton. We're talking about a different Ken. We're talking about Ken Paxton, but our friend Ken from Appleton also joined. And I want to hear from our friend Ken from Appleton what he believes is going to be the outcome of the primary Senate race, the Senate primary in Texas. Ken, do you have any thoughts? If you don't at this moment, that's fine. You don't have to answer. But if you do, if you believe that you know who's going to win, please share that with us. Is it going to be John Cornyn? Is it going to be Ken Paxton? Let me know. Always wonderful to see fellow Wisconsinite Ken from Appleton. All right, my friends, we are 36 minutes into the live stream. Please make sure that you are supporting this channel. And how do you do that? How do you do that? You hit the like button. You subscribe if you haven't done so already. And our friend Audrey is here. Audrey Ann, also from New York. Gianna is from Far Rockaway, New York. Audrey is from Long Island, New York, right, Audrey? I'm not mistaken, am I? All right, Ken is not exactly sure about the Senate primary race. That's fine, Ken. That's why I'm doing this live stream, because I want people to know about this Senate primary that's going on. There's John Cornyn, the incumbent U.S. Senator, running for re-election, and he's got a challenger, and that's Ken Paxton. Both are Republicans. Audrey Ann from Long Island, so good to see you. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen Audrey participate in the live chat. So wonderful, Audrey. Hope things are going well. All right. All right. We got two friends from New York now. We got Gianna, we got Audrey. All right. Okay. So, my friends, listen, I'm going to say this again. This is a community of freedom-loving people. We love our country, and we love our freedom, and we want to see America as a country stronger than ever before. So, you know, every now and then we get some nasty comments in the live chat. I try my best to address those nasty comments by blocking those individuals, all right? Not just simple disagreements, not just simple differences in opinions, but anyone who's being just plain and simple nasty, all right, that person is going to be blocked if their comments come to my attention. So that's what I'm going to do. I blocked somebody just now, and if needed, I'll block more people, although I don't like blocking people. So I hope everyone's going to be participating in a constructive manner, okay? So, my friends, let's continue. As I was saying, Ken Paxton, in 2022, he was reelected with 53.4% of the votes in Texas, which was a total of 4.27 million votes. That's a lot of votes. That's a lot of votes. 4.27 million votes. Now, in 2020, go 2 years prior. In 2020, which was John Cornyn's most recent statewide election that he won, he received 53.5% of the votes. But in terms of the actual number, it was a lot higher than Ken Paxton's 2022 election total votes. Cornyn received 5.96 million votes in the Senate election in 2020. 5.96 million votes. Yeah, that is correct. Do you want me to repeat the numbers again? 2020 Senate election, Cornyn got 5.96 million votes, which was 53.5% of the votes. In 2022, Ken Paxton got, for the Attorney General's race, he got 4.27 million votes, which was 53.4% of the votes, and they both won in their respective races. So if you look at the most recent election data for Cornyn and Paxton, then Cornyn has gained a lot more votes than Paxton. But one could also argue that the turnout in an election year is always higher than a midterm election. And if you make that argument, you're not wrong. There's more attention, there's higher turnout. In general, there's higher interest in a presidential year than in a midterm election. So it's no surprise that Cornyn got more votes because it was 2020, which was a presidential year. Now, Paxton's re-election was in 2022, so not a presidential year. And so maybe that was one reason why it was lower, but it's still a significant difference. Still a very significant difference. And as I'm saying, they both won their elections. 2020, Cornyn got 5.96 million votes. He won the election, the Senate election. 2022, Ken Paxton got 4.27 million votes. He won the Attorney General's race. Different years. One was a presidential year, one was midterm. Anyway, we can always look at past data. Kushi is here. Hi, Kushi. Good to see you. Our friend Kushi just joined. Thank you for being here. Kushi is here. Good to see you. By the way, for those who are wondering, Kushi is actually Jay. Kushi's name is Jay. And Jay, I remember you said you are from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Are you still in La Crosse, Kushi? Jay? That's our friend from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Let me know if you're still in La Crosse. Jay said yes, La Crosse. All right. Sauce is here. Hi, Sauce. It's been a while since Sauce has been here. Sauce is here. Wow. A lot of the viewers and friends who used to tune in a long time ago are coming back. So Sauce is here. I think it's been a while since we have seen Sauce. Tune in for a live stream. So wonderful. All right. Make sure that you're liking this video. If you haven't done so already, like this video, share this video. Share this video on X. Share a link on Facebook. All right. Share a link on Facebook. Text the link to a friend. Do it. Okay. Help us spread our message. So, my friends, we can always look at the past election data, but that doesn't always allow us to predict the future. If Ken Paxton wins the primary, will he be able to win the general election? I don't know the answer. There's no way to predict. Give me 1 second. There's no way to predict. I'm not going to be able to predict anything. Who's going to win the primary? I don't know that yet. Ken Paxton is leading, it appears, but 2026 is still far away. We still haven't gotten to the middle of 2025 yet. I mean, officially, we're still in the first half of 2025. We haven't reached the middle of the year yet. And 2026 is when the primary election is going to be, and then the general election. So still too early to make any kind of assumption, to make any kind of prediction. to make any kind of forecast. There's no way to do it. All right. Things can change. Things can change rapidly. But so far, according to the recent poll that came out, it seems that Ken Paxton is leading, and it's not a small lead, it's a 16 percentage point lead over an incumbent, John Cornyn. But if Ken Paxton wins the primary, just assume that if you assume that the poll is accurate and the poll is going to be if the poll is correct, and if Ken Paxton is really going to be winning the primary, the next question is, will he be able to win the general election? I don't know the answer. But what I do know is the fact that heated primaries always divide people. So the Republican voters are going to be split between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton, and I wonder if they will be able to come together and unite and support the eventual nominee, whether it's Ken Paxton or John Cornyn. Also, fundraising gets split between the two Republican candidates leading up to the primary, and then it just becomes harder and harder to win the general election. If you as a candidate, you're using a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of volunteer hours, winning a primary against a fellow Republican, then a lot of resources, a lot of funds are exhausted leading up to the primary. And so there's less money left for the general election when you're going against the real opponent, which is whoever the Democrat candidate is going to be. So, and then again, the donors, if there was just one candidate without a primary challenger, then a Republican donor just would give to whoever the sole candidate is. So let's say if Ken Paxton, if Ken Paxton wouldn't be running, then a Republican donor would just give money to John Cornyn, one would assume. But now, because there's a choice between Paxton and Cornyn, a Republican donor may, a Republican donor sort of has to choose because resources are limited. A Republican donor has to choose like who to support, Ken Paxton or John Cornyn. Let's say you support one candidate, make donations, contributions, one candidate, but the other candidate wins the primary and advances to the general election, but you've supported the candidate who did not win the primary. So now there's less money left to help the candidate, the primary winner, to help that candidate win the general. Does that make sense? So a heated primary causes problems if you look at it in a practical way. I mean, competition is good. If the voters have more choices, that's good. They can pick and choose. Competition often brings out the best in candidates because they work harder. But then resources get split. And then it becomes harder and harder to win the general election. And money is a real need. Money is necessary in statewide races in modern day American politics. And if the candidates spend a lot of money on the primary, then the general election just becomes harder. And then we don't know what kind of influence President Donald Trump might have in this race. But we do know that the Republicans must hold on to the Senate majority. And we got 53 seats right now in the Senate. Hopefully we can hold on to the majority and grow the majority. Hopefully, we will be able to grow the majority if we defeat John Ossoff in Georgia. But once again, Georgia is not the topic of discussion tonight. But we must hold on to the Senate seat in Texas, my friends. It is so important. So important. So I don't know who it is going to be. Is Ken Paxton going to win the primary? Is John Cornyn going to win the primary? But whoever wins the primary, that candidate must win the general election. Must win the general election for the Republicans to hold on to the Senate majority. And we cannot lose Texas. We cannot lose Texas. If we lose the Senate race in Texas, if the Republicans lose the Senate seat in Texas, it's going to be extremely emotionally painful for many Americans across the country. As I said, Texas is not just 1 out of 50 states. Yeah, it is. But it's more than a state. As I said, it's a symbol of freedom. If we lose Texas, that's going to significantly and very adversely impact Republicans' confidence across the country. We cannot lose in Texas. All right? Now, the question is, who is going to run for Senate in Texas from the Democrat side? Any idea who that might be? Any idea who the Democrat candidate for U.S. Senate is going to be? Reportedly, Colin Allred might run for Senate. Anyone heard of Colin Allred? Martin is here. Hi, Martin. Good to see you. Who else is here? All right. My friends, make sure you're liking the stream. Like the stream, my friends. Like this video. Help us reach more people. So, who knows who Colin Allred is? I'm going to give you half a minute. How about that? Half a minute. I'm gonna start my stopwatch here. All right, there you go. You got 30 seconds. Martin is from Ohio. Hi, Martin. 30 seconds. Tell me who Colin Allred is. I see some comments here. Somebody doesn't like my live stream. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, my friends. Colin Allred is a Democrat. Okay. And reportedly, he might run for U.S. Senate. Colin Allred is a former NFL athlete. He's a former congressman. He ran for U.S. Senate against Ted Cruz. And let me tell you, what an outcome that was. All right. What an outcome that was when Colin Allred ran against Ted Cruz for U.S. Senate. Guess what that outcome was? Colin Allred was defeated. Allred was defeated. I mean, simply saying that he was defeated is not enough. I mean, if I just tell you, hey, matter of fact, Colin Allred, former NFL athlete, former congressman, ran against Ted Cruz for U.S. Senate and was defeated. That doesn't tell you the whole story. This guy, Colin Allred, he faced a massive defeat. It was not just your usual defeat. It was a massive, massive defeat. Do you know the difference between the votes that Ted Cruz got and what Colin Allred got? Any idea what that vote difference was? You want to make a guess? I mean, Colin Allred was defeated. Tremendous defeat. It was a completely miserable defeat for Colin Allred. And this was in 2024. It was the 2024 election. So just a few months ago. November 2024. What a miserable loss it was. And I'm asking you if you know how many votes separated Colin Allred and Ted Cruz. Gianna has a number. Gianna, are you saying 10 percentage points? Okay, let me ask you, not in terms of percentage points, tell me how many actual votes separated Colin Allred and Ted Cruz. Who can tell me? Like a few thousand, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? Any idea? Give me an actual number. Gianna. Richard Miller is here. Hi, Richard. Sly. Hello, Sly. Okay. All right. Let me give you. Okay. So I'm seeing different. Angelina is saying just tell us already. All right. That's what I'm gonna do. Ted Cruz received 5.97 million votes. So close to 6 million votes. All right. So 5.97 million votes. That's what Ted Cruz got. And Colin Allred just got a little over 5 million votes. So it's almost a million vote difference. Not quite a million, but close to a million vote difference. Ted Cruz got 5.97 million. And Colin Allred just got a little over a million. A little over 5 million. So a little over 5 million and almost 6 million. So that's close to a 1 million vote difference. Okay, Sauce is sharing the news, the numbers. Yeah, so what a miserable defeat it was for Colin Allred. And by the way, anyone who doesn't know Colin Allred, I mean, a lot of people know him from, his athletic career, his sports career. But let's say somebody doesn't know about Colin Allred, what his political views are or where he stands in politics. Okay, and his name is Allred. His name is Allred. But you know what? His policies are all blue. Colin Allred. That's the name. Allred. But just having red in the name doesn't mean that his policies are red. His policies are all blue. This guy is left wing. Colin Allred. Left wing. He's a Democrat. Okay? So his name might be all red, but his policies are all blue. So, my friends, is he going to run for Senate? I don't know. Do you think he's going to run? After losing with almost a million vote difference, after losing to Ted Cruz, is all red with his all blue policy, is he going to run again? If he does, by how many votes do you think he's going to lose again? Is he going to lose, or you think he's going to win if he runs? I hope he loses. All red with all blue policies. If he runs again, I hope he loses again. But we don't know if he's going to run. I mean, after such a massive loss in 2024, which probably was the greatest election of our lifetime. After losing in November 2024, which was the greatest election of our lifetime, I think, is all red. The Democrat, is he going to run again? Tell me. I mean, some people, they run, they lose, they run, they lose. Like Stacey Abrams. You know Stacey Abrams, right? Jet is here. Hi, Jet. Good to see you. Stacey Abrams, remember? Georgia, in Georgia, Stacey Abrams. She ran, she lost, she ran, she lost. Do you think Colin Allred is gonna follow similar footsteps, running and losing, running and losing? Richard, what do you think? So I see some comments in the live chat, and okay, I see this individual named Luke. It's talking about taking political advice from someone who pumps our gas. All right, so my friends, if we want to be good human beings, we have to treat others with respect. Okay, and I've said that before. The people who work in stores, different stores, okay, whether it's grocery stores or hardware stores, bookstore, high-end stores, department stores, or just regular stores, gas stations, whatever, convenience stores. These are everyday Americans who make our country great. Okay, and they are the ones who go and vote, who help elect our leaders. They are the ones who work hard. They pay taxes, and they face a lot of hardship, like we all did in the last 4 years with Biden in office. People who suffer from inflation. But these are people who work hard, and they keep our economic engine running. So, this individual named Luke had some comments about taking political advice from um, someone who pumps our gas. First of all, I don't work at a gas station, but even if I did, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You meet some of the nicest people, okay, when you go inside the convenience store at a gas station, all right? They greet you, they say hello, they work very promptly, they are swift in their actions. You pick your stuff, and you go to the cash register. They work very fast. Uh, they'll help you check out your items, and they'll give you the receipt. They'll thank you. They'll ask you to come back again. So these are some of the nicest people, those who work at gas stations. And if you ever have a conversation with somebody who works at a gas station, they can probably share a lot of wisdom, okay? Uh, because those people there, um, one might assume that they're not high income earners, okay? Um, they're not like, high on the economic, um, scale. If they're working at a gas station, maybe they make modest income. They're not making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, unless you're a gas station owner. There are people who work behind a cash register, but they also own, maybe multiple gas stations. They're probably making a lot of money. But, if you're talking about an employee, um, they probably make modest income, but they are some of the nicest people you'll meet. Because I travel a lot, so I go to gas stations a lot. I buy a lot of gasoline. Um, and so I interact with these people. They are so nice, and they live in our communities. They are our neighbors. And, these are some great people. So if somebody says, oh, taking advice from somebody who works at a gas station, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? These are people, they vote. All right? They vote, they work hard, they interact with people who are coming and going. They have little chats with people throughout the day. They have a lot of experience. Okay? Especially if they are working at a gas station, then they know about energy, they know about gas prices, they can see the trends, and they probably have good political advice to share. Okay? Now, I don't know statistically, but I'm guessing a lot of people who work at gas stations, they probably voted for Donald Trump. Okay? So anyone who says anything disrespectful about gas station workers, it's not acceptable. Okay? It's not acceptable. And yeah, you know, you're probably better off taking political advice from everyday hardworking Americans than taking political advice from Democrat political strategists and activists. Okay? I mean, who are you going to listen to? Do you want to listen to consultants and political advisors who worked for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? You want to listen to their political advice? If you come across people who work for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, like high-paid consultants, high-paid political strategists, are you better off listening to them, or are you better off listening to people who work at grocery stores and gas stations, who see the real struggle and who voted for Donald Trump? I mean, share with me your thoughts. Josie is here. Hi, Josie. Good to see you. Anyone else here? Uh, David is here. David Nichols. I think I also saw Fred. Fred, are you here? Angelina is saying yes, have kindness and respect for all people. Thank you, Angelina. So I hope Luke got the message. I don't know if Luke is still here, but really, you have to treat people with respect. All right. AC, thank you so much. Evelyn, Jet, Audrey, are you still here? Is Audrey still here? Gianna, are you here? Okay, Selena is here. All right. Okay, my friends. 1 hour, 11 minutes into the live stream. Josie is talking about Saudi Arabia. I can talk for another hour just on President Trump's Middle East trip. What a trip this was. Gianna is still here. Hi, Gianna. What a trip it was. Saudi Arabia. I've talked about it. I think I did a live stream talking about President Trump's Saudi Arabia trip. And I said, define grand. Talk about what a grand welcome is. Talk about what a grand reception is. Talk about what a grand palace is. And Saudi Arabia, they took it to a whole new level. The meaning of grand, the best possible welcome ever. And that's what Donald J. Trump received during his trip to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, the welcome that they gave to Donald Trump. Lefty is saying, Trump is my president, best ever. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Donald J. Trump is redefining geopolitics. Okay, I think at least for the first time in my lifetime. Now, some of you are probably younger than me, some of you are much older than me. So you can share your thoughts from your experience, but I can tell you that in my lifetime, I think May of 2025, this month that we are still in, May of 2025, I think this is like, so far, this is the peak of the strength of America-Middle East relationship. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. And I'm in my 30s. I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my 40s. I'm in my 30s. And I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. I mean, when people think of Middle East, especially over the last couple of decades, when people think of Middle East, they think of, war and conflict and bloodshed and unrest. And now the world has seen the real Middle East, the palaces, the skyscrapers, the luxury, the gold, the silver, those royal Um, talk about the horses and the camels that we've seen from the videos, and the luxury, the warmth. And why? Because Donald J. Trump is the real leader. Because Donald J. Trump is the peacemaker. He deserves that respect, that warmth. He deserves that grand welcome that he received. And Donald Trump is sending a message to the world that this is the real Middle East. Commerce, not chaos. Didn't he say that? Commerce, not chaos. If people think of Middle East and they think of chaos, they think of war, they think of debris, they think of broken buildings and bloodshed and no. This is the real Middle East. And we are friends. We, the United States of America, we are friends with the real Middle East. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates. And so Donald J. Trump is the peacemaker. He's strengthening our relationship. He's building new bridges. He's establishing new relationships, new friendships. Donald J. Trump. So I've said this before, when people traditionally think of US allies, and most people do, I think, they think of Europe. They think of, France and Germany and England. And yeah, they are our allies. Although Donald Trump pointed out many deficiencies in those relationships. Donald Trump pointed out how we are friends with many countries, and those countries benefit from this friendship, while the United States doesn't benefit from that friendship. It's a one-sided friendship in many cases. And President Trump pointed out how a lot of our allies, a lot of our friends, and I'm talking about Europe right now. Texas Repo is here. Hi, Texas Repo. Good to see you. Scott Wells is here. Good to see you, Scott Wells. A viewer named Fu is here. For some of you using different screen names, I'd encourage you to please at least mention your real name or your first name or a name that you want to go by other than your screen name. So that's easier for us to address you that way. But thank you all for being here. So, as I was saying, President Trump, he pointed out how many of our allies have been taking advantage of us. Many of our allies, when we as a country, we think of friendship, we want the friendship to be mutually beneficial. We want the friendship to be a win-win friendship. But if we have friends, other countries, if we have allies, and we do a review of the relationship and we see, in this friendship between the US and, pick your country in Europe, a European country. If in this relationship between the US and a European country, only that country has been benefiting, then you have to rethink what this friendship really means. So it's like, you've got a friend and you go out every Friday night, every Saturday night, whatever. You go out, uh, to a cafe, you go out to a restaurant, you go out to a bar, you and your friend, and let's say you're the only one paying the bill. You have dinner, you have coffee, whatever, and you're the one paying your bill, paying for your food and whatever your friend is consuming. I mean, it's just a very simple example, all right? After a while, you kind of have to think, hey, we're friends, but I'm the one paying the bill all the time. What is this friendship about? I mean, at some point, there has to be some sort of a balance. I mean, I understand the United States is by far the strongest and the richest country in the world. So yes, we understand that we are able to do things that a lot of our allies can't do. We can afford things that our allies cannot afford. But if we see that our friends, our allies are basically taking advantage of this relationship, like President Trump pointed out, our allies have been imposing real high tariffs on us. Our allies have not only been imposing tariffs, but our allies have also established non-tariff barriers to make it hard for American businesses to go and do business in their country. So a European company might be able to do business in the US, but it might be difficult for American companies to do business in Europe. And I'm not going country by country specific examples. I'm just saying in general terms. So when, historically, when we think of allies, like, okay, who are the allies? Oh, Europe is our ally. The European countries are our allies. But President Trump has removed the curtain. He has revealed the true state of geopolitics. And he has shown how a lot of our friends have been taking advantage of us. And so he's redefining global geopolitics. He's showing the world that geopolitics is going through transformation. And the fact that President Trump, just like he did in 2017, remember when President Trump, during his first term in office, during his first year in office, in 2017, the first country that he visited on an official trip, it was Saudi Arabia. It happened for a reason. And during his second term and during his first official trip, once again, the first country that he visited officially for official business is Saudi Arabia, followed by Qatar, followed by UAE. And this is supposed to send a message to the rest of the world, particularly to Europe, that, hey, America is really examining very thoroughly, examining the complete picture of our relationship with the world to figure out who our friends are and who are simply taking advantage of us. And if needed, we will rethink the alliances. We will rethink our existing friendship, maybe to move away from some friendship and to establish new friendship. And so I think this should be a loud and clear message to Europe that, hey, we're not just counting on Europe for friendship. We got friends in the Middle East. We got friends who gave our leader, Donald J. Trump, the kind of grand welcome that people can't even imagine. The grand welcome in Saudi Arabia, the grand welcome in Qatar, the grand welcome in the United Arab Emirates. This trip is going to be one that people will talk about for years and decades. Maybe even a century from now, people will be talking about this trip, this historic Middle East trip. So if Europe is taking us for granted, well, they have to think again. We are strengthening our relationship with countries in other parts of the world, like the Middle East. And so, as President Trump said, Middle East is going to be all about commerce, not chaos. And all the deals that President Trump signed, all the businesses that are going to be investing in the United States, it's amazing. My friends, I've been talking for a while. Let me know if you agree with me or if you think whatever I'm saying is just wrong. Let me know if you agree with me. Okay. Lefty says agree. I agree 100%. Thank you so much. Let's see. Angelina says absolutely agree. Thank you, Angelina. Um, Texas Repo said, I don't agree. You're wrong on every. William Miller is here, says Virginia here. Hi, William. Texas Repo is saying, I don't agree. You're wrong on every subject. Well, I know Texas Repo is joking. Texas Repo has been supporting this channel for so long. Texas Repo, thank you so much. That's our friend, Texas Repo. Hold on. By the way, Texas Repo is the real name is Joey, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Texas Repo. Are you Joey? Josie says, I'm with you, Taw. Thank you so much, Josie. Josie agrees with me. See, Evelyn is laughing. Evelyn is going LOL. Okay. Yeah, so for anyone who knows Texas Repo has been supporting this channel for a long time. That's our friend Joey. Right. Now Joey is silent. Joey is not speaking anymore. All right. We need some humor. We need some jokes. Texas Repo is Joey. See, I remember. Texas Repo says I'm Joey. Yeah, I remember that. I need more coffee. I need more coffee. All right. My coffee is gone. I need some more. I had a little nap in the afternoon, so I'm going to be up for a while. David is asking, are you a sports fan? Well, I used to play cricket growing up as a young boy, as a teenager. I used to play cricket because I grew up in Asia. I used to play cricket, and yeah, well, I haven't played cricket in a while, and now I'm like I encourage sports. Sports, sports is so important. If you want the future generations, if you want the those who are children now, those who are growing up, teenagers, if you want them to have a healthy life, okay, they should be spending time on sports rather than spending time in front of screens, okay? Less time playing video games, more time playing sports, outdoor stuff, okay? Get out there, physical activity, all right? So keeps you healthy. The more you active you are, the more you're running, the more you're moving. Um, it just keeps your body and your mind healthy. All right, helps you burn calories, helps you stay active. Your muscles and joints are working. That's what we need. So I encourage sports. Now, do I play sports? No, no. I do. I walk on the treadmill. I do some exercises, but I don't get to play sports. I'm not into sports right now. Okay, so that's me. And there isn't enough time. There's not enough time for me to uh, be an athlete. All right. Let's see. Mm, Tammy Tammy says I'm wrong. Okay, so I have not read a lot of Tammy's comments, but it seems like from the conversations that I see in the live chat, um, it seems like Tammy doesn't agree with me a whole lot. Tammy, please subscribe. All right, because I'd love to see you watch more of my videos in the future, and maybe I'll be able to change your way of thinking. Maybe you'll be able to see the truth, Tammy, and then maybe you will start agreeing with me. All right, Tammy, stay connected, Tammy. Tammy doesn't agree with me. This is so sad, Tammy. So sad. So sad. Hopefully you will agree. Hopefully Tammy will come back one day and say, Tausif, I've seen the truth. I realize that what you and your friends are saying, you are correct. All right. And I'm with you now. So Tammy, I hope you'll say that in the near future. All right. Maybe we can change Tammy's mindset before the midterm election in 2026. All right. Yeah, you got to be optimistic. You got to be optimistic. So I'm optimistic. Um, who else is here? Let's see. Fuzz is here. Hi. Fuzz is from Canada. Fuzz is tuning in. Um, Fuzz also doesn't agree with me a whole lot, but Fuzz has been supporting this channel. By the way, that's Aaron. Okay, goes by the name Fuzz, but that's Aaron. Aaron is from Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron says, "Hi, Tausif. Hope you're well." I'm fine, Aaron. Aaron doesn't agree with me. Okay, most of the time, I think maybe 99%. What percentage would you say, Aaron, that you don't agree with me? 90% of the time, 95, 99, or 100%? I think in some cases, Aaron agrees with me. Maybe like one or two issues. I don't know. Um, but I appreciate the fact. Um, I appreciate the fact that Aaron tunes in for the live streams and Aaron participates in the live chat. And um, Aaron is saying, do not agree, maybe 75%. All right, so it's a lower number. It's a lower percentage than I thought. Okay, so Aaron estimates that he agrees with me 25% of the time. All right, That is so great. I was thinking maybe like Aaron doesn't agree with me 90% or 95% of the time, but Aaron is saying it's more like 75%. So 25% of the time, Aaron agrees with me. Uh, that is very encouraging. All right. Uh, that is very encouraging. Um, hey, this community is getting stronger and stronger every day, my friends. Um, let's see. So far tonight, more than 5,000 people watched this live stream. So that's great. Um, uh, okay, so when Aaron agrees with me, he likes to not let me know. All right. Okay. Aaron, I'd love to know uh, what issues you agree with me on. I'd love to know that. All right. And if you write that in the live chat window, everyone's gonna see. So please do that. Um, let me know. By the way, is my sound quality much better with this microphone that I now use? I've been using this for a while now, for I don't know, a couple weeks. Please let me know. All right. Let me know if the sound quality is better with um Evelyn says it's great. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah. Uh, yeah, as I said, my goal is to get um a wireless microphone uh very soon. Now, how soon? That depends on all of you. Why? Because with your support, I'd love to get to 20,000 subscribers. And once I get to 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to go and buy that wireless microphone system that is going to, um, what that is going to do is I don't have to have this in front of me. I can just have the wireless microphone here, attach it with a clip to my shirt, and then I'll be able to talk to you, and you'll get great sound um, uh, without having this in front of me. I'm still gonna have this because this is what I use to record my podcast episodes. So I love this, but for my live streams, I want to be able to use a wireless microphone. And then also, what the wireless microphone is gonna do is when I'm outside, when I'm, let's say, I sometimes record videos when I'm not in my apartment, when I'm like out there. Um, and so if let's say my car is parked, I'm sitting in my car recording a video, and there are other cars moving, there's traffic, there are pedestrians, there's noise in the surroundings. With that wireless microphone, I would be able to kind of block a lot of that outside noise and you know help improve the quality of the sound that is recorded, the voice. But that I have planned that it's going to be my reward to myself once I get to 20,000 subscribers. Okay. Um, let's see. Mm, Evelyn is saying you need a tripod for cooking. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, yes, I do need a tripod because um if I have a tripod, I can set yes, I can set my camera at the right angle in my kitchen, and I can cook. And what that would allow me to do is I'm going to be able to show you the complete cooking process. Right now, you see the shorts videos that are 20-second, 30-second, 40, 50, 60 seconds long, whatever, 90 seconds long, short videos. But if you want to see my complete cooking process, If it takes me half hour with all the ingredients ready, if it takes me half hour to cook something, I'm not able to show that to you. Why? Because I don't have the tripod set up in my kitchen. So if I get a tripod, I will be able to show you detailed um, process, the cooking process. So Evelyn, I like that idea very, very much. Okay. Um, yeah. So maybe I will also get a tripod when I get that wireless microphone system. Let's see who else is here. Yeah, Evelyn says that way you can use both hands. Yep, exactly. Rather than holding the phone and cooking, I can show you the complete process. Yeah, Marjorie is here. Marjorie says hi, Toss. Marjorie, so good to see you. That's our friend Marjorie from Canada tuning in. Um, thank you, Marjorie, for being here. Let's see. Race Car Kevin is saying, oh, wow. Okay, Race Car Kevin has given me a compliment. Thank you, Race Car Kevin. Okay. All right. Who's here for the first time? Anyone here for the first time? Butch is here. Hi, Butch. Good to see you, Butch. Marjorie says, I would enjoy learning more about your authentic recipes. Yeah, and it will require more time on my end, but I would love to um, provide recipes for the things that I cook. Um, yeah, I'd love to share the recipes, but that would mean I'll have to capture the full video from start to finish of the whole cooking process. And Evelyn has a great idea. Evelyn suggests that I get a tripod. That's what I'm going to do very soon. Help me get to 20,000. I could go get a tripod tomorrow. I could go and get the wireless microphone system tomorrow. The reason I'm not doing that, okay? The reason I'm not doing that is I'm setting a goal for this channel so that it gives me the drive to get to that goal, to reach that goal, and then I can buy the tripod and the wireless microphone system as a reward. Okay, so help me get to 20,000. That's my goal. Help me get to 20,000. Give me 1 second, my friends. Hold on. By the way, my friends, I'm going to be wrapping up this live stream because my phone battery is down to 12%. So I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I'm going to end the poll. The poll question was, which Republican candidate do you support in the U.S. Senate primary race in Texas? Is it John Cornyn, the incumbent, or Ken Paxton, the challenger? And out of the 70 people who voted in the poll, 67% said Ken Paxton. So 67% chose Ken Paxton over John Cornyn. Okay, so that's the result. My friends, I wish I could stay longer. My phone battery is going down real fast. So it's down to 11%. Very soon it'll be down to 10, 9, 8, 7. So I am going to be wrapping up this live stream. I thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so very much, my friends. I'm going to be publishing more videos, doing more live streams, whenever I can find time. Okay, it's not all going to be at night. Sometimes I may do live streams really early in the morning, maybe at 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. Central Time. Sometimes maybe on weekends I'll do them in the afternoon or in the morning. I'm not able to do live streams during the day. when I have work. Okay, when I during the week when I'm working, I can't do a morning live stream. I can't do an afternoon live stream. So it has to be evening or maybe really early morning. Okay, before my day starts. Maybe like as I said, 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. But not during my work hours. But stay connected. Please subscribe if you have not done so already, because that way you will hopefully get notifications when I start live streams, and you can tune in, you can participate in the live chat. So please subscribe and stay connected. And also, I will publish podcast episodes. So please watch those podcast episodes that I publish. So, tension in Texas, what's going to happen in the US Senate primary? We don't know who's going to win. Is it going to be Ken Paxton or is it going to be John Cornyn? We don't know. We have to wait and see. And who's going to be running for US Senate from the Democrat side? Is it going to be Colin Allred, the Democrat? I don't know. But some say that he might run. We have to wait and see, my friends. But the most important thing to keep in mind is that the Republicans, we the freedom-loving people, we the Republicans, we cannot lose Texas. So we have to hold on to the US Senate seat in Texas. Whether it's John Cornyn or Ken Paxton, I don't know who it's going to be, but we the Republicans, we have to hold on to the US Senate seat in Texas. We cannot lose in Texas. With that, my friends, thank you so very much. Please, before we wrap up the live stream, please flood the live chat window with the word Trump. If you support Trump, please write Trump or I love Trump or I support Trump. Please write Trump. Let's do that before I conclude this live stream. Please write Trump and show your support for President Donald J. Trump. Let's do that, my friends. May God bless you all. May God bless President Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies. And may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. Thank you so very much, my friends. I see lots of comments. Trump. Douglas says Trump. Evelyn says Trump. Butch says Trump. Sly says Trump, my president. AC Cruz says Trump. Josie says Trump. Frank, good to see you. Frank says Trump is number one. Evelyn says MAGA. So many of you supporting Trump. Thank you. Marjorie says Trump. Thank you so much. Ray Scar Kevin, thank you. Thank you so very much. Everyone, my friends, thank you so very much. I'm going to wrap up this live stream, but I will be back with more videos and more live streams. So please stay connected, my friends. Stay connected, and together we will make America great again. Thank you, my friends. I will see you very soon. Thank you.